This is Movie Division. Today, I'm going to recap the sci-fi horror movie entitled The Mist. Spoilers ahead, watch out. The movie opens with David working on painting a movie poster when he notices a heavy storm approaching their house through the window. David takes his wife, Stephanie, and son, Billy, down to the basement to be safe from the harm of the storm. Unfortunately, a tree crashes into their house through the window into David's studio. The next day, David notices that all of his painting has been undone by the storm and will have to start the poster from scratch, while Stephanie encourages him and mentions that the tree was very old and David's memories were linked to it. Subsequently, when David is talking about repairing the house, Billy subsequently approaches his parents and says they need to know what a tree has done to their boathouse. David is sad that the old tree he has been complaining about to his neighbor, Norton, has finally ruined their boathouse and leaves to talk to him. Stephanie suggests him to be polite to Norton, and David reaches Norton to trade their insurance information because their boathouse has been ruined. Norton shows him the car, which was also damaged by the storm, and David gets sad after finding his car in a miserable condition. When David leaves after Norton assures him of sharing the insurance boy's number, Norton stops him and asks him for a ride to the store. On their way to the store, Billy, David, and Norton notice many military cars following CMP and ignore them, thinking their light must also be gone. After they reach the store, David suggests Billy to go with Norton while he tries to contact Stephanie, but fails. David returns to the store and talks to Sally, who informs him they are suffering an energy crisis and light is only available to freeze the food. David then talks to another salesman and his friend Ollie, and after that he returns to Norton, who complains to him about Stephanie's bad handwriting. David takes the list and Norton leaves after thanking David for his favor. Billy thinks his father and Norton are not mad at each other and can be friends now. Suddenly, 3 newly recruited military boys arrive at the store while Billy talks to Mr. S. Repler. After a while, David notices that Norton is stunned to see a member of the military department arriving there and informs the 3 freshies that their vacation has been taken back due to unknown reasons and orders them to report back at the base. Following that, they all get afraid after noticing police cars and fire brigade in a hurry, and suddenly klaxon starts blaring, which adds to the fears of everyone inside the store. At the same time, everyone notices a man named Dan running toward the store while bleeding from the nose. After Dan is rescued, he warns everyone that there is something wrong with the mist approaching them. A man listens to this and leaves the store, after which the mist surrounds him and causes him to scream. Everyone frightens after listening to his screams, and Billy requests his father to hold him tightly. Suddenly, everything starts shaking and they conclude that it is an earthquake. Dan suggests staying inside the store, while Norton and the store manager, Bud, also favor him, stating that they must remain inside until they figure out what is happening. A lady panics after listening to this, mentioning that she has an 8-year-old daughter at home looking after her younger brother, and she asks everyone to help her, but no one agrees. The lady leaves, and after she disappears in the mist, everyone returns to save themselves. After that, David is seen sitting with Mrs. Hattie, Mrs. Repler, Amanda, Ollie, and Sally when he claims his son is very afraid. When asked about Dan, Ollie mentions that he is calm now and has never seen Dan act like this. David then hands Billy to Miss Hattie and leaves to check the generator at the back of the store. David discovers that the generator is backing off, so he turns it off and gets hurt when he tries to return to the store in the dark. On the other hand, Amanda listens to a lady named Mrs. Carmody, informing everyone that it is Judgment Day because of their sins, while no one pays much attention to her. Meanwhile, David notices something is thrashing on the door and is trying to open it. He immediately rushes to the store and informs Ollie, Jim, Myron, and Norm, who are standing in front of the door. After David tells them about what he has listened to, they don't believe him and take the lead to inspect the matter. Jim, Myron, and Norm insist on opening the door while David tries to make them understand that whoever is thrashing the door may enter the store after they open it. But Jim replies rudely, mentioning David's connections with Hollywood and his job for the movies. Ollie stops David while David again stops going out, but he calls him a coward. After the door is opened, Norm and Jim taunt David, thinking everything is fine, but suddenly a few gigantic tentacles appear and grab Norm's leg. David and Ollie try their best to save Norm, but the tentacles are too powerful that they drag Norm out of there and engulf him. Ollie and David then close the hatch, due to which the tentacles move out. Jim tries to apologize to David for not believing in him, but David beats him for being the cause of Norm's demise. Ollie then calms David while Jim and Myron are ashamed of their mistake. After David regains his senses, he forbids Myron and Jim from saying anything to anyone about Norm. After they leave, Ollie suggests David to tell everyone about this, trying to stop them from going out. David informs him it will be difficult for them to convince people of this because he is still not sure by himself that he has seen something like that. When David comes out of the store, he encounters Amanda, who gets worried after looking at the blood on his shirt, but David assures her that he is fine and requests her to stay with Billy. David informs Myron and Jim that they cannot hide the incident from the people and will have to let them know they are in deep trouble. They decide to start with the newcomers and select Norton to start with. David explains everything to Norton separately, and instead of believing them, Norton blames them for planning to bully him. Norton replies that he has sued David recently, which is why he is planning to make fun of him while others are backing him up. When Norton denies believing them, David forces him to see the piece of tentacle he has cut, stating that he cannot risk his son's life for Norton's mistake. Norton gets offended and claims to sue David again. Meanwhile, Ollie gathers everything while David informs them that the mist is not something ordinary like Dan has informed them earlier, and the tentacles they encounter out of it have killed one of their fellows. Everyone makes fun of David at this, while David suggests Bud to look at the tentacle piece at the back of the store. Bud and a few others cast a glimpse at the tentacle, and when they touch it with a stick, the tentacle gets rotten and turns into liquid. Bud returns and reports that they are in big trouble now. Following that, Miss Kamadi is seen talking to God in the washroom when Amanda arrives and takes permission to use the washroom. When Miss Kamadi is leaving, Amanda says that unlike her, she is also afraid and offers her friendship in case she wants to talk to someone. Mrs. Kamadi replies that she has her God as a friend and leaves, insulting Amanda for her offer. Meanwhile, Norton claims that the evidence is worth trusting now and divides the people into two groups, one helping David while the others with him are willing to rescue themselves. Miss Kamadi then starts manipulating people by reading the good book verses and claims that there is only one God whom Israelites believe in, and mentions that human sins have brought this end to them. People request her to keep quiet for their children, but she mentions that children must be afraid of the lies they have been listening to, and mentions all the reasons humans must be punished. Amanda gets offended and slaps Miss Kamadi when she mentions that their God demands blood in return for their sins. She adds that the monsters will come again at night and kill someone else this time. Ollie agrees with her and asks her to be silent until then. David then talks to his son, who claims that he is missing his mother, while David calms him, stating that his mom will also be missing him and will be fine. After a while, we see that an old man questions Bud whether they have a gun in their store or not, and Mr. Cornell reveals that he has a gun in his truck parked nearby, but David does not allow him to get the gun. Amanda takes out her safety gun, and on being asked, she informs that she has never used it. Ollie appears there and takes the gun, stating that he was a state champion in 1994. After that, David steps out and claims that he and the people with him want to leave the store. David tries to convince them not to make this mistake, but David does not listen to him, and David requests him a favor to wrap a rope around his back so that they may learn about the zone of activity of the mysterious creatures. David denies doing it, while another man agrees to help him with that. David talks to Norton again, but Norton states that nothing is inside the mist. After Norton and his fellows leave, David, Ollie, and a few others keep losing the rope, but after a while, the man gets attacked and his half-eaten body returns to the store. Kamadi warns them all to be careful. On the other hand, Wayne approaches Sally when she is alone in a locker room. They both reveal that they are concerned about their parents. After questioning Wayne about never asking her out on a date, Sally kisses him but stops. Later, David, Ollie, and Bud make the arrangements for light when it gets dark. At night, a man notices irregular-sized bugs hitting the store's front glass panel. The man alarms everyone about this, and the moment when everyone gathers to see the bugs are attacked by the flying creatures. As the creatures attack the bugs, the glass breaks down, allowing many bugs inside the store. One of the bugs bites Sally, who manages to get rid of the bug, but its poison causes her death by getting her neck swollen. David and Amanda burn the fire and fight the flying creatures, while Ollie is seen killing the creatures with a gun. During this, Billy spots his father and panics while Hattie tries to calm him. Unfortunately, an injured flying creature arrives, and when it is about to attack Billy, David rescues his son while Ollie shoots and kills the creature. They defeat all the bugs and creatures, but a few of them are killed and injured doing this, and a boy named Joe gets burnt. When David talks to Amanda, Ollie leads him to Joe, who is miserable. Joe is so much in pain that he suggests killing him by using the gun Ollie has, but David asks him to stay strong. David and Ollie then return to the gym and the other fellows to inform them that they will need to visit the nearby pharmacy, and Ollie mentions taking Irene with them because she knows where the required medicine is. At the same, Amanda asks for a favor from Hattie and discovers that she has committed suicide by poisoning herself. Amanda rushes to David and his fellows and reveals the news of Hattie's demise. David and his friends hide Hattie's body and plan to leave. Amanda finds it immoral to leave everyone behind, but they persuade her by mentioning Carmody, who manipulates the people's minds and will get most of the people on her side in a while. David states that they don't know she sacrificed how many of them, but they can also be her victims. The next day, David meets his son, informs him that he's going to the pharmacy, and promises him that he will return. Despite being opposed by Mrs. Carmody and her followers, David and his friends leave the store, and Wayne accompanies them. They make their way to the store safely and collect all the medicine they need. After a while, Jim and others notice many dead bodies wrapped in spider webs and get afraid when an MPV keeps his hand on Jim's shoulder. They try to save the soldier, but he states it's their fault and dies when the spiders come out of his body. After that, David and his friends are also attacked by the spiders, and 2 died there. Others return to the supermarket and are afraid of what happened to them. David sleeps for a while, and when he opens his eyes, he listens to Carmody provoking people with her teachings and discovers that Joe has passed away while Jim has joined Carmody. When asked about their next step, David reveals that he wants to investigate Wayne and his friends about what the MPV said before passing out. They approach Wayne and ask him what the MPV said, but he denies knowing anything and starts looking for his friends. When they enter the storeroom, Jim looks at them and they find that Wayne's friends have committed suicide. Wayne gets sad and mentions that he must have not told them what the guy at the pharmacy said. David realizes it was the military's Arrowhead project they have been working on for many years. Jim listens to this and drags Wayne in front of Carmody and her followers. Jim reveals that the military has been doing all of this, and Wayne reveals that the scientists used to consider that they would open a way for all other dimensions to know what is on the other side, but things turned out to be horrible. Carmody declares Wayne the reason behind this and orders them to kill him. Her followers stab him many times and throw him out of the store, while David keeps trying to save him, but no avail. After that, a monster appears and kills Wayne. Later that night, David is seen with Billy when Billy asks his father to promise him that he will never let the monster take him away, and David assures him that he will never let that happen. The next day, David explains his plan to his friends, and when they try to steal some food and supplies, Mrs. Carmody catches them and blames them for being the reason God has punished them. She orders her followers to get the boy at every cost, and when they are about to attack his friends, Ollie shoots Carmody and kills her. Her followers don't understand what to do next, so David and his friends leave the store and start looking for their car. 3 of David's friends get separated, after which they are attacked by the spiders and are killed. On the other hand, Ollie finds the car and informs others about it, but then he is killed by a giant monster which divides Ollie into 2 parts. David, Billy, Dan, Amanda, and Irene enter the car safely and decide to leave as far as the fuel takes them. Despite being abided by the others, David picks up the gun and leaves. On their way, David finds that his wife has been killed and gets sad recalling what he has said to her the last time. After that, they travel for a while so their car runs short of fuel and stops. They all get afraid of this and don't know what to do next. David takes out his gun and reveals that they have 4 shots while there are 5 of them. Everyone gets out in the car, and David takes charge and shoots everyone, including Billy. David gets mad after killing his son and friend and tries to shoot himself, but he's short on bullets. David steps out of the car and starts yelling to draw the attention of any monster, but he is taken aback after looking at the military vehicles appearing from the mist. He discovers that the mist has gone, and the military has rescued everyone, as predicted by Carmody. David then starts crying that his son and his friends have died for nothing, and the movie ends there. If you enjoyed the recap, leave a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos like this. Turn on the bell notification, and comment down your favorite part of the movie. Thanks for watching.